Before I was a school teacher and before I was a pastor and any of those things, before I had a career of any sort, I was mostly a career college student. I worked as a waiter in a restaurant, and I worked as a bartender, and I worked as a bank teller, and I worked a lot of different jobs. I worked manufacturing steel, but mostly I was a college student. And before I was a history major, which is what I ended up being, I majored in psychology, and then I majored in clinical psychology specifically, and I always thought I'd get a doctorate in clinical psychology, and then I ended up taking statistics. Statistics really was tough for me. Some of the statistical analysis, it's even hard for me to say, wasn't nearly as hard for me as, say, just basic statistics, the math that you had to take to do clinical psychology. But one of the things that I've always remembered with studying was this statistical term called mutual exclusion. And you've heard about things being mutually exclusive, but mutual exclusion, the easiest way to describe it means that just basically if you flip a coin in the air and it lands, and if it's on heads, it can't be on tails. I mean, the two are mutually exclusive. And we have so many things in our lives that are mutually exclusive, but I struggled with that. I mean, because we would do studies in class and we would have to go and ask questions, we would do surveys, and then we'd do statistical analysis out of it. And at the end of it, we could say exactly how close someone was to this kind of problem or that kind of problem just by the analysis and the survey that we took testing these people. And they'd have to answer 500 or 700 questions, however many it was. It was a lot. And it broke down so that you could actually have a psychological profile on someone out of this. But each one of these questions, even though they were very, very similar to anyone looking at it, some of them ended up becoming mutually exclusive statistically so that you could push certain things out of the way completely, even if someone was trying to fake you. I thought about that's what's going to happen in the game today. There are people that are getting ready to play a football game in Miami, the Chiefs and the 49ers. I think the 49ers are going to take it by 12. I think the color of the Gatorade is going to be blue. So if you're betting on either of those things, you want to go with me, you might want to pick those. I don't bet on this kind of stuff, but you might want to go with that. But you see, at the end of the day, it's mutually exclusive. It's going to be one team's going to be a winner, one team's going to be a loser. That's the way it is. Some people are going to have money in their pocket from betting, some people aren't. That's the way it is. Some people are going to lose, some people are going to win. Mutually exclusive. It can't go both directions. And that's the way it is with life so often. In our lives, there are decisions we make that if we make this direction, the other direction, we're not going to go there. And if we go this direction, that other direction, we're not going to go there. I mean, these two things, they strike the other out. And we forget about that completely when we evaluate our lives so often. We just randomly go through life, and yet when we look backward as we get older, we realize, because I went that way, it changed everything in my life. Now, I'm sure I would have been perfectly happy had I gone ahead and gotten my doctorate in clinical psychology. I wanted to do it in Hawaii and then stay in Hawaii. Debbie and I planned for that. I mean, we just thought that would be the life. And then statistics came my way, and one difficult challenge changed the direction of pretty much the rest of my life because I bailed. And I don't know how many difficult challenges you've faced in your life that kind of changed the rest of your direction of your life. I'm not unhappy about the fact that I bailed over this because there have been a lot of other things that have happened in my life that have been really good because I chose not to go that direction. But for each of us, I think we need to learn how to push through sometimes. We need to learn how to make it. I'm standing in the sanctuary at Central Community, and right here in the lobby out here, I was there, I think it was in mid-90s, late 90s. A friend came in and she was freaking out. It was right before Sunday church. She was absolutely losing it. And I said, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" She said, Pastor, I've lost my house." I said, "Was there a fire or something? What happened?" And then she started crying. She said, "No, I've never told you I've got a gambling problem. And last night I lost my house." I said, "You couldn't have lost your house. You mean you lost the payment for this month?" No, and she literally, she did. I mean, she had lost her entire household. They owned their house, and she had, through a night of really excessive gambling, had lost everything, including the house that her family lived in. Had to take her children. Marriage ended, had to move in with her mother. Horrible. It was absolutely horrible. I haven't seen her for decades or thought about that for years. But I've never forgotten it because I thought, how can someone lose her house? But you see, the minute she put down that bet, something was going to happen. She was either going to win or she was either going to lose. And the cost of losing was extreme. I don't know what the cost of winning was. Cost of losing and winning in our lives usually isn't anything near the value of our house. But everything, when it comes down to it, is a mutually exclusive decision. And today, the decisions that you make about whether you want to be mediocre or whether you want to be miraculous, well, very often it's not kind of just right down the middle of the road. Jesus said it this way, because you were neither hot nor cold, but because you were lukewarm, I'm going to spit you out of my mouth. You make me sick. It's kind of harsh language, isn't it, for early in the morning? For us, we like to play both sides of the fence, almost all of us. Some of us, we get way too rabid on one side or the other. And so what I choose, what my prayer has been, what I confess this morning that I failed these first 2 mornings of prayer, is my commitment was to listen in this month of prayer, just to listen to God, to listen. Because I'm good at talking to God. I'm good at telling God what I need and what I want, but to listen. I want to learn how to listen to you and to pray for you as well. I want to learn how to listen to the people around me because, you see, I realize sometimes when I'm talking, it's next to impossible to hear. It's the reason God gave us 1 mouth and 2 ears. Hey, today go out there. I don't know what your issue is and what you hope to do today, but remember that some of the things that you want to do, mutually exclusive. You choose to do one, you can't do the other. I mean, it's impossible. My prayer would that you choose to be the miracle. And when you choose to be the miracle, it's impossible to be mediocre. And who wants to be mediocre? Not me. Hey, God bless you. Have a fantastic day. Whatever you do, be the miracle.